Two, three, four. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody.
Good afternoon. It's Saturday, August 30th. I am Bruce Leonard. This is Bruce Leonard Leans Left, while it's still legal. Still legal today, I believe. It was a weird week. Trump kind of disappeared for a second, and people thought he was dead. I knew that wasn't happening. Like,
Did he come back?
we're not getting out of this that easy. Yeah, he appeared. If you can't hear, if you hear, our friend who just returned from Italy, Daniele Bolelli, is here with us. How you doing, my friend?
I was doing better before you gave me this news. Did he really come back?
Yes, they said they saw him going to play golf or something. But
Ah,
it was very strange. Again, it was some weird like just one photo of him going to play
hmm,
golf. There's something going on with his health. I do believe that to be the
yeah,
case. That they're trying to keep a secret because I don't know if you noticed. Uh, because well, you've been in Italy, you've probably been following this shit, which I don't blame you. But he had that bruise on his hand,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and they
yeah,
said, "Oh, that's from him shaking hands all the time," and blah blah blah. And then he got cankles, his ankles all swelled up,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
all of a sudden, a bruise appeared on the other hand.
Hmm.
So he has a bruise on each hand and swollen up cankles. And then all of a sudden, nobody's seen him for a couple days. Now, him not being seen for a couple days is unusual. But to me, what's more unusual is no frantic tweeting.
Yeah,
None.
yeah, that's
Tweet
weird.
true social silence, which is very
Yeah,
strange.
when you're addicted, you don't quit like that.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I believe there's something going on, but I don't know what it is. You know, it's like
Well, I had to recently. I had to do a ton of studying on Roman history
yes.
because have to prepare. I had to prepare a course for Arizona State University, so I was working like a dog on that, and I spent probably 400 or 500 hours working on this stuff. I was losing my mind. But the point being, there's a story that if you want to see a connection, please do. Not that I'm implying or anything, but there's the story of this one dictator, Sulla, who at one point, he's one of the first to seriously take over the Roman Republic when it's still a republic, but turn up a notch the degree of it becoming a dictatorship
Just before Caesar?
before.
Okay.
He's the one civil war before. There was these two guys, Marius and Sulla, who was clashing for power, kind of like Caesar and Pompey will do a generation later.
Mm-hmm.
And Sulla, does his thing, tries to reform the state, and then he retires. And shortly after retiring, he died this horrific death where there's apparently he's infested with all kind of weird parasites, and on a daily basis people are like cleaning his gangrenous wounds and taking out maggots by the thousands, but no matter how many they take out, more are formed until essentially he just wastes away.
Right.
So you know I don't know. I'm all for. Sometimes they say that history repeats itself.
Yes. I said I do believe there's something going on with his health that they're trying to keep a secret.
Yeah,
I don't know what what it is or what it could be, but
I
it,
mean, I was really intrigued when I saw the thing about him having disappeared for a while. I was considerably less intrigued when I remember that JD Vance is vice president.
that's what I was saying today.
Yeah,
Was like, oh, it sounds wonderful for that to
yeah,
happen, but like JD Vance is almost worse.
I know.
It's like
It's
because you know what that means. If JD Vance become president, that means Peter Thiel is really the president
of course
because JD
he's
Vance is Peter Thiel's little lapdog.
Yeah. Is JD Vance, what do you think? Do you think he would have the necessary charisma to keep together a MAGA movement, or are they going to leave him behind?
I haven't figured that out yet. I'm not really sure. Um,
Because I think that's the real question. Because I mean, Trump is going to die sooner or later. He's going to be gone. The question is, what happens after that? Does this old personality cult dies with him, or is it passed on to somebody else and he becomes inheritable?
I think that what will not die is their brainwashed hatred of liberals.
Sure, sure, sure. I
Um,
mean, the stupidity won't die. There are plenty of things that won't die. I'm just curious to how cohesive of a political force they can remain without Trump himself.
I think that they will lose like all of the fringe parts of the coalition.
Yeah,
Like the hardcore mega, which is 25-30% of people might
right.
stay, but the bro sphere and all the things that he's picked up along the way,
Yeah,
I don't think Vance can keep that going because
that would be
Vance
good.
really doesn't have a personality. If you haven't noticed that,
No, no, totally. But I mean,
he's a vapid sycophant.
that would be enough for them to lose elections. So that would be good enough.
Yes. Well, I believe. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching what's happening, but like every special election that they've had
Yeah,
since Trump has been in power, they've lost. They
right.
lost in Iowa the other night in a district
Yeah,
that Trump won by like 20 something points.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
What do you
no,
think
I
of?
think he won by 11 points or something, and
Yeah,
the chick wound up winning by 10. It was like a 20-point
yeah, yeah.
swing.
20-point swing. Yeah.
Um,
Hopefully, hopefully.
so there is a lot of backlash going
I
on.
love
And
how.
Joni Ernst already decided that she wasn't going to win her election and decided not to run.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So
good.
I think that a lot of these the really hardcore nutlickers are the ones that are really cowed by Trump are going to start dropping off.
I'm amazed that the ones who have been supporting Trump, who now all of a sudden are like, wait, but this is not what I voted for. And I'm just like, and I mean, I'm happy that they are dropping off, but at
Right.
the same time, it's like, are you really that stupid? It's like he openly advertised what he was about. He
Yes.
told you what he was about. How the hell do you come out 6 months later, a year later, and go like, oh, wait, but I didn't think he told you? If you didn't think, it's because you're stupid, because he was right in your face,
Yes.
He wasn't ambiguous, it wasn't hidden, was very much in your face.
Yes. Well, I think a lot of them thought he was bullshitting. Like
So why would you?
I don't know because you answered your own question because you're fucking stupid. Like
Yeah, it's
he
bizarre. It's
he
bizarre.
has made no secret that he worships these dictators
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that he's cowed by Putin. It's like none of these things are like mysterious.
No.
It, it's
Oh, speaking of which, today, it's funny that you mentioned it. Just today, I published on Substack called a how-to guide for dictators and cult leaders, where I break down all the necessary steps to create your own cult or become a dictator. And because I think these are the times, it's like if you want a career change, these are the perfect times for cult leaders and dictators.
right. Well, the internet is definitely supercharged that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Um, People are easily brainwashed, obviously. Um,
And I mean, and I think part of the issue is you're going at a time when people are scared shitless because things are changing so fast and they don't know how to, we haven't adapted to technologies from 20 years ago, and suddenly now where people are, there's new stuff coming up constantly.
yeah.
So to me, it's like, of course you're gonna go through dictators and cult leaders have an easy time because when people are scared, They get angry. When they are scared and angry, so easy for somebody to come on as the reassuring father figure to say, I'll take care of you. I'm gonna fix it all. Don't worry. Everything that scare you, I'm gonna make it all great again, kind of stuff. It's such an easy formula, and people think that somehow like the evil dictator, the evil cult leader is somebody who gains the system to gain power. People are flocking to them because they are desperately want to buy what these people sell. It's bullshit, but bullshit is better than fear and anxiety, so people buy it by the thousands.
I guess, but I mean, you're a history professor. I mean, history shows that most
Hmm.
of these guys are full of shit.
Oh yeah.
They always
But I
have
mean,
been, and they always will
sure,
be. And
sure.
so it's not like that this guy's offering some miraculous new thing. It's like, no, he's
No,
doing the
it's
same old
always.
thing that everyone's always done: is stoke fears and prejudices
Of course, of course,
and make people feel like somehow they're being oppressed and they need to be,
of course, of course. But
what
I
I
mean, it's a tried and true formula.
what I find the oddest about this whole entire episode in this country especially is how the conservatives used to be small government, you know,
Yeah,
all the things that they stood for before libertarianism.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot of
Of course.
libertarians. There's a lot of like small government, get off my back, states' rights.
Yeah, yeah,
All of a sudden, all that's out the window.
yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
hundreds of years of a couple hundred years of philosophies that these conservatives have had, and
Well,
then
to
now
me,
they don't care about any of that. They're
to me, that tells you that it was never about ideologies or politics or commitment to an ideas. To me, it tells me that it was always about psychological reasons. Because, as long as you get your daddy figure who's reassuring, you are willing to switch ideology at a drop of a dime. But what you don't want to give up is the daddy figure. As long as those psychological needs are satisfied, you can flip flop ideology however you want. It doesn't even matter. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing all that to the 10th power is because, I mean, it's the same reason is like why, you know, at every level, from Jim Jones to Trump, from on a slightly more sophisticated level, the Jordan Peterson of the world. That's how you build a following, is by catering to people who are scared and angry and confused and anxious and telling them, don't worry, I'm your new daddy who's going to take care of you and it's all going to work out.
I suppose.
And, and
I guess it reinforces to me that I'm not an average person
for
because
sure,
I
for
can't
sure.
wrap my head around how you could be so easily malleable
I mean,
in
I
your
guess
principles and morals.
to play devil's advocate, look at it like this. If people are scared shitless, and most of the time they won't admit it to themselves, but they are scared shitless, and for good reason, because they see things changing, they don't know how to fix it and stuff. The A realistic assessment that tells you, yeah, those things are really scary, they are real, and they're very hard to fix. That's not what you want to hear. You don't want to hear somebody who tell you, okay, let's roll up our sleeves and work on it, but this is going to be really difficult. You want to hear somebody who tells you, don't worry about it all. We have the fix for all of it. I'll take care of it all. You want, in other words, bullshit hope is better than no hope to most people. So if the alternative is mild, difficult, maybe hope, or all perfectly cleaned up, fantastic, wonderful hope, even though if you have three brain cells, you know that that's going to fail and is bullshit, people will flock to the more polished product because it promises something considerably better.
Right. I guess it's like why snake oil and shit like that worked.
Yeah, of course, of
People are
course.
like, well, I don't know what to do. I got this disease, and the guy comes, oh,
Yeah,
this will cure all of your problems, and
of
they go, give
course.
it to me. If
I mean, you
$5, fuck,
never,
I'm in. You know, it's like,
nobody ever went broke by profiting of people's fears, you know? It's an easy market. It's an easy market out there.
to me, that's the scariest part, though,
Yeah,
because that show tells you that this whole internet movement thing, the Charlie Kirks and the people like that, they're not going away
yeah. Oh no, of course not.
because their whole thing is built on,
Oh yeah,
like you said, keeping people scared and you know, telling them that they're going to solve all their fucking problems for them, and that's not going to end when Trump is gone. That whole
absolutely.
machine is running at full speed,
Yeah, yeah,
and people are making
absolutely.
millions and millions of dollars off of it. So that's not going away. Like that's something that needs to be addressed. Needs to be, and again, like you said, not an easy fix. It's a free speech dilemma of,
Yeah.
you know, but it's dangerous. Obviously, look at what it's done. It's very
No,
destructive.
it's terrible, and I mean, and that's why I think it kind of goes back to my concept that one of the most important thing you can do is become mentally strong, because mental strength is what keeps you away from dictators and cult leaders. Mental strength is what makes you not go down the path of buying into some ridiculous bullshit because you're too terrified to contemplate the possibility that the answers may not be easy and that it may be difficult to find solutions. you know that to me is the number one antidote against it, because cult leaders and dictators, how do they make their following? From people who are weak, who and desperately want to appear strong. So
Yes,
it's the ultra macho, I'm gonna be the toughest, are exactly the people who fit the best in this, because they are desperate, obviously.
right. I think that's hilarious. I've been saying that for a while. It's like their whole thing about that. We're alpha males and
Yeah.
like, yeah, but somehow they're scared of every little fucking thing that
Oh yeah.
we're all alpha males, but we're scared of immigrants and trans people and gay
Of
people, and
course.
we're scared of
Of course.
cities, and we and I don't even. Mark Wayne Mullins like, I don't even wear my seatbelt when I drive around in D.C. because I might get carjacked. And it's like he lives in fear constantly. And
It's
yet here
ridiculous.
he's the guy who jumped to do that fucking 50 push-ups and pull-up thing. Like, look how tough and macho I am. And then, but yeah, but you get in the car and you're scared like a fucking rabbit. You know, looking
Yeah.
all around. It's like,
Never mind that if you're gonna make a big deal of doing your push-ups and pull-ups, first learn how to do a push-up and pull-ups. That shit that I saw, that's not a push-up and a pull-up.
of
That's
course.
some, that's like some barely flag. It's like ridiculous.
Well, it's just like everything they do. It's bullshit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah,
performative bullshit.
yeah.
It
100%.
doesn't mean anything. You know,
Yeah,
like they think, oh, this is great meeting. It shows we're strong and we're getting together. It's like, no, it's really just fucking some reality TV show bullshit.
I know, man. I know. It is what it is.
So you said you're making a course for Arizona State. Are you teaching there now?
Yeah, yeah, it's all online, so it's not stuff that I have to be in person, but yeah, it's online. And then what I'm thinking of doing is, because I've done this massive amount of work about the history of Rome, I'm gonna start a separate podcast, separate from History on Fire, where I'm just going to cover the history of Rome. So the plan is to, I need to work on it more because I want to have at least like 15, 20 episodes ready before I release the first one, because I'm probably going to do them weekly. So, the pace is a little more intense. So I need to have a probably 4 months lead before I get started officially. But yeah, I'll probably release the first episode, I'm guessing in January, February, somewhere around there. And
That's
then
cool.
have a plan to crank them out after that.
You should write
Because
a book too.
yeah, right. Why not? So
I mean,
that's the. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned the thing that I'm doing right now is I'm gonna put out a small ebook based on a couple of episodes of History on Fire I've done about Rome, where I did a whole series about gladiators, like why the hell were gladiators so popular? What is it about it, and all of that.
It's
So
the
it's gonna be short.
WWE of Rome.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna do a little booklet, like I don't know, 25,000 words, something like that, and put that on as an ebook.
Because wrestling and the UFC show
Yeah,
you. Like I remember the first time I worked a UFC event in Vegas
yeah,
when I was doing security. Uh, People were there, dude, at three
yeah,
in
yeah.
the afternoon. Those
Oh yeah,
fights start like the main events go on pay per view, whatever, 9 or 10 o'clock at
yeah,
night.
yeah. Totally,
But
totally.
they start at 3 in the afternoon,
Yep,
and
yep.
it's fighting all day.
Oh
And
yeah,
people were in there 3 in the
yep.
afternoon, ah, you know.
Absolutely,
And I
absolutely.
was thinking to myself, this is complete Roman shit,
It is complete
you
Roman
know.
shit. I mean,
And
UFC even did it explicitly. Like, I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, they had this their intro on the pay-per-view. It started with the scene of a Roman gladiator picking up the sand, opening the doors to the arena. I mean, it was very explicit, the connection there. And I don't know, I was interested in it. Like, one of the theses that I'm playing with, though, is that, of course, there are bunch of, the bloodthirst, the sadism, all of those reasons exist. But I think one that interests me on a philosophical level that's less negative is the fact that I think there's an element, especially in gladiators, the idea that somebody would be thrown under monstrous pressure in front of thousands of people, potentially fighting to the death, and the fact that somebody could remain unflinching in front of a hopeless situation was also inspiring. So I'm sure a bunch of people just wanted to go see some blood the same way as people would go, they want to see a car wreck. And I'm sure there was plenty of people, but I also think that there were people who also there's an element there that is like we are looking for role models that inspire you about being unafraid in the face of things that objectively are scary.
right,
And
courage, you know.
yeah, and I think that's an interesting, I don't think that's an alternative, and I don't think that's necessarily the majority of the people, but I think that is an element in the story.
Sure, sure.
So, so that's what speaking of which, I'll go back to working on that because I was cleaning it up, putting all the notes and all of that. But I'm glad we had a chance to reconnect and chat a little about this again, despite the horrible news that you just gave me.
I didn't mean to ruin your fucking day.
I was so
If you
inspired.
were like living in this fantasy that he might actually be gone. It's
Well,
like
I'm still counting on the maggots to do their job.
or the brain worms or whatever these people have going on.
Yeah, 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 indeed.
um, well, again, it's so good to see you again. I'm glad that you made it back. I was worried that they wouldn't let you in the country.
Yeah,
Did
right?
they
I had
ask
a
to look in
second.
your phone?
Yeah, no, no. It was very
I
easy the
was
way that.
wondering if you might get caught up in that. Like,
What was trippy though? They did not ask for the passport on the way back. Like you show your passport at the beginning of the first flight when you're still, in my case, in Italy.
right?
And then I arrive, and when I arrive at LAX, they just take a picture of you. And then 3 seconds later, a green light comes on and say, okay, go ahead. And that was that. It was just facial recognition with no passport.
Well, it's probably hooked to Palantir AI now
That's what I'm saying.
that says, "Oh,
It's,
he scanned his passport in Italy.
yeah,
He's fine." You
exactly,
know,
exactly, exactly. But that was trippy. That was a first.
right? And it's weird. It's like, oh, they're worried about all these immigrants that they're not even going to check your fucking passport.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
It's
That was
like
pretty bizarre.
that is weird.
Yeah, yeah. But cool, my man. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming
We'll,
by.
we'll
And
we'll chat
like he
soon.
said, it's, read the Substack, watch History on Fire, and hopefully you can make time to come back, weekly like you've been doing.
Yeah, totally. That would be great.
Thank you, my friend, for being here.
Have a great one.
All right,
Bye
man.
bye.
Daniele Bolelli, everybody. I'm so glad he's back. Missed him. And if you heard, like he said, he's gonna do a new podcast about Rome, but it probably won't be out till January. But like I said, follow Daniele. Like I said, he's definitely worth the effort. And now he's teaching at Arizona State, so you could take his course. It's an online course. Shit, I might take it. It sounds interesting to me. But you know, history tells us things, and like I said, we are living in a parallel. Uh, you know, what's happening to us is kind of what happened to Rome. Only Rome was around for thousands of years before this stuff started happening to them. You know, the I think it's interesting when he was saying it is true that it's the quick fix that people are looking for. You know, the truth is that the world is complicated. There's lots of big problems, and to solve the problems is not easy. You know, so what you need is a guy like Trump that tells you, "I'll solve all your problems overnight. You know, 24 hours, I'll solve Ukraine." And like you can see by the reality of the situation that he's full of shit. These problems are not easily solved. And all of his solutions are just creating more problems that will need to be solved. You know, it's like, it's, I was reading a thing that they said, even the military, people in the military, commanders and shit, were like, this is not good for the military, what's going on. Like, to be using the military for these things is not good. It's not good for the military. It's not good for society and society's relationship to the military and how they see the troops. Now you're politicizing troops, you know, which we went through in Vietnam. And everybody's seen how that worked out. You need to be behind the army of your country, because they're the ones that are going to go fight the wars that we need to, you know, to protect us from whatever, you know. I mean, they used to say to fight for freedom, but people here are just willing to give away their freedom, it seems like. So what are they really fighting for? I don't know. I guess dominance of America over the world, I guess. But if let's just say that it is true what they're saying, that they are fighting for your freedom, you know. Well, it doesn't do them any good if half the country thinks that they're fucking political hacks. You know, and that, like, this is why the two-party system to me is total garbage and will always be garbage, because there's only two choices. That means that whatever team you're on, you must look at the other team as your enemy. And we're all Americans. You know, it used to be like, oh, I don't like Republicans, but I didn't hate them like I do now. Like, I hate them now in a way that I never did before, because they've crossed the line. You know, they're the ones that escalated all of this. You know, and that's the problem. Is Newsom has woke up to the fact that, like, politics has changed. It's taken the Democrats a long time to realize this situation. You know, they used to keep trying to play the same playbook of like, well, we got to work with these people, and we got to blah, blah. No, you don't. Because they're not going to work with you. You see what happened. They got a majority, and they can't pass it. That doesn't matter. All they need to do is get a tie, and they can get Nutlick or J.D. Vance to come in and break that tie, and they can pass some shit. So they're not interested in compromising with the Democrats or making a bill that everybody could accept. What they want to do is jam their agenda down your throat, which is exactly why Trump fires anyone who even remotely appears to not want to follow his agenda. Let's take what's happening at the DHS. Trump says they fired the DHS director because they didn't want to follow his agenda. Okay, well, what exactly is the political agenda of the DHS? The DHS shouldn't have a political agenda. It's a scientific organization designed to protect public health. It shows you that how the internet has poisoned people's brains into thinking that every single thing has to be political. It's not political. You know, if you think that vaccines don't work, you're just wrong. Period. There is no political point to it. You're wrong. You're scientifically wrong. figures, facts and figures will show you that the efficacy of vaccines, they save way more people than they kill. Now, just people are allergic to shit, yes. People have adverse reactions to things, yes. But these are, it's just like I said before, is where like they wait for one immigrant to do something and then they go, look, this is all the immigrants, which is not true. They do the same thing with vaccines or whatever. One person has a heart attack because they're allergic to a vaccine and they go, look, we're right, vaccines kill people. Meanwhile, a million other people took that vaccine and they didn't die. It's the art of creating a false narrative. And it works because someone added me to some fucking dungeon. I haven't been in one of these dungeons for quite a while, but it's like an alt-right dungeon full of fucking bigots and vaccine deniers and fucking, any horrible people that you could imagine are all in this group. And someone added me to this group. I didn't know what it was. And I joined. And then I started looking at it and I was like, oh God. So I did what I always do. I started trolling. You revert back to what you know. I started throwing bombs into the fucking group, and telling them how fucking stupid they are and that they're all fucking soulless scumbags. And they're so easy to get riled up because they're ready to be riled up about anything. This is why they're easily manipulated. And they don't see it. Now I got into it with these ultra-leftist people who, again, they say, all the Democrats are fascists too. And then it's like, you're looking at real fascists that you allowed to get into power. And you're still going to hold on to this belief that the other people are just as bad because, they don't understand politics, and they certainly don't understand America and why the politics are the way they are. Here's the deal. The Democrats, again, when Biden was president, nobody did anything to stop Israel. Why? Because of AIPAC and Jewish voters. You need the vote. You need the Jewish vote to win elections. You're not going to get the Jewish vote by going against Israel. Now, so Biden tried to speak up at least against them and say, hey, what you're doing here is wrong, and, maybe we will cut off some shit. He did threaten them, that one time. He said, I will cut off the weapons if you don't stop fucking doing what you're doing, and, he got him to back off a little bit. But Trump came in and just poured gas on it, and gave Netanyahu, let him off the leash. You can't let Netanyahu off the leash, bro. Netanyahu is an Israeli problem that they need to take care of, but for some reason, they can't. I don't know why. It's the same as why we can't get rid of Trump, I guess. It's like, because they cheat, lie, break all the rules. They're power-hungry power mongers, really, and they don't care about politics, laws, rules. They believe in power and only power, and they're going to flex their power however they can, I think it's interesting. Like I said, I did not know that till Daniele just told me, but that it's interesting that someone had already tried to tear apart the Republic of Rome before Caesar. I thought it all started at Caesar. I thought, which makes me think, like I said, maybe I should take his course, because obviously a lot of shit happened before that. And no one ever talks about that. You ever know, like, the history of Rome usually starts with Julius Caesar. I mean, there's a cursory, like, Romulus and Remus, were raised by wolves or whatever, and they founded Rome. The myth of the founding of Rome. And then it's like, fast forward to Julius Caesar. Well, what happened before that? Well, no one really, then no one really talks about that. So to me, that would be the most interesting part of the course, to hear. Because, most people already know, I mean, if you're a history buff, you already know the history of Rome from Caesar onward. All the way to when, fuck, I can't even remember his name. The guy that founded Istanbul, when he converted to Christianity, the last emperor of Rome. The fact that I just forgot that is disturbing to me. It's a sign of getting old. Plus, my brain is filled up with a bunch of shit now. Like, I got song lyrics and things that I gotta remember. And I still have all the fucking comedy in my fucking brain locked up. You know, I mean, I'm not making excuses. I probably have, early stage dementia. Not to mention the fact that I've been smoking marijuana since I was a young child. None of these things are good for the brain. Luckily, I had an above average brain before I started fucking, using it. Before I started abusing it, I should say. But yeah, there's a lot of parallels between. I mean, really, the truth is that human beings haven't really changed. That's the other part of it. It's like all this technology around us, all the advances that we've made, medically, scientifically. Like I said, human nature has not really changed. We still have the same fucking flaws and problems that we've always had. And these technologies just make it easier for people to manipulate those flaws. Like I said, to me, the most interesting question is, when are we going to start looking, like I said, at the machine that they've created that brainwashes people? It's dangerous. And it's a dilemma. It's a freedom dilemma. It's a free speech dilemma. It's like, well, they'll say, well, you're abandoning politics because you don't agree with them. It's like, well, most of your politics aren't politics at all. They're cultural grievances. That's not politics. Politics is like, how do we get people into health care? How do we fix the roads? How do we fucking keep the infrastructure possible? How do we keep jobs? How do we, all these other things? It's not like politics is, there's trans people into sports and we got to, that's not really, that should be an issue for people to deal with locally, however they choose to deal with it. Small governments. I mean, like local municipalities. If they want to say, well, I have trans people. Okay, then you have trans people over here. Then the trans people have a choice. And they go, well, if I want to play basketball, I move to California. And get out of Arkansas or wherever the fuck you are, where they want to ban shit. Which goes back to what I've been saying for a while now, is that we should just break this country in two, really, because there's half the country that has a totally different vision of what the country should be, and we're no longer in a spot where the country governed for all these years because they went into Congress and they worked together to come up with compromise bills, where the right got some of what they wanted and the left got some of what they wanted, and everybody could walk away, at least feel a little bit happy that they got something that they wanted out of the deal. Well, now it's not like that. Now it's like the right people just want to jam their fucking bills down your throat. Because, like I said, these people are not about politics or anything else. They're about the raw flexing of power. And that's it. J.D. Vance has said it himself on podcasts before. We need to be ready to flex power more, no, that's not how it works. When a minority is flexing power over the majority, that's a dictatorship. It's not a republic or democracy or whatever you want to call it. We need to really look at the entire system, and there must be tweaks made after this is over, if we make it through this. You might come out the other side as a fascist dictatorship that never changes. That's the part that people don't get. Once you burn the Constitution, it's gone. It's like, oh, we're going to go back to the way it was. There's never ever going back to the way it was. It's like when your husband or wife cheats on you. And people are like, oh, we talked about it and we've decided we're going to try to keep it going. We're going to go back to the way it was. But it never goes back to the way it was, does it? It never does. now they can never trust you. You've broken the ultimate trust, you know. And to me, that's how I feel about Republicans. Republicans can never be trusted again. Now, like I've said numerous times on this show, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a member of the Democratic Party. But there's only two options in this country, and now one of those options is completely null and void. Republicans cannot be trusted ever again. They've already shown what they are, truly, if you allow them to take the mask off. That's why I get mad at these leftists. They don't see the big picture. You know, it's like, we can quibble about how left you want to be after the fascists are gone. And they're like, well, it doesn't bother you. You voted for other fascists to keep your fascists. Like, dude, the Democratic Party are not fascists. I don't give a fuck what anyone tries to gaslight and tell you. It's like, they're not that. What the pandemic did was give them that fuel to use. Because people are like, well, I don't like these government rules and dictating to me what I can do. I got to stay home and I can't 6 feet distance. I got to wear a mask. This is fascism. And like, it wasn't really fascism. It was people trying to figure out a way to save as many people as possible. Now, did they make mistakes? Yes. They did. I said it in the very beginning of the pandemic. Which is, we're right where I said in the beginning of the pandemic, which is, all you can really do is take COVID, whatever it is, 19 or all these other variants that there are now, put it on the list of things that can possibly kill you in the world, and move about your fucking business. Because it ain't going away. Once it was out, it wasn't going away. There was no magic like, let's make it go away. Like, it's not going away. It's just like what I just said 5 minutes ago. It's like, you can't go back to the way it was. COVID is everywhere now. It's spiking all the time. It's spiking up, spiking down. You know, like I said, it's right back to, it's just another thing on the list of things that could kill you in the world. And it's a multitude list. It's like, well, just add that one more thing and go about your business. Now, do you want to fucking take precautions? Sure. If you want to live, you know, to go in a big place that's filled with a bunch of people, put a mask on if you want. I don't give a fuck. That's your prerogative. But see, these freedom people will be like, look at her wearing a mask. Ah! It's like, if you're so much about freedom, why do you care if the other person wears a mask? Because the mask is associated with being told what to do by the government. So I believe psychologically they made a lot of mistakes during the pandemic. Like I said, when you dictate to people what they have to do, there's always going to be a blowback from that. And like I said, now a mask, which is actually a tool you can use to save yourself, has become blackballed and labeled as a symbol of oppression. Well, they gave them that, you know. They handed that right to them. I'm not kidding you when I said I lived in Las Vegas. The city was dark for a whole year, an entire year. It was black. The strip was empty. The fucking casinos were closed. You could go to the strip. We did a few times. You can go to the strip and just walk down it. It was empty like a movie, like a zombie movie where the world had died. Like everything was empty. It was one of the weirdest, most eerie things. Everything was quiet and silent. We used to sit on my porch on Tuesday nights during the pandemic because you couldn't have any social contact with anybody. So some comics would come over to my apartment on Tuesday nights and we would sit out on the deck. And you could hear like construction going on. They were building a tower building or something. And they still had allowed people to do their jobs. So, but the rest of the city was so quiet that you could hear that. You could see miles away, they're building a tower, over by the strip, a couple miles away. You could hear hammers. And it was the creepiest, weirdest thing ever. It was like the world was dead. And you're just sitting there, like, it was very odd. Ken says, like he says, he's a dictator only on day one, and all of a sudden he hates dictators. What a fucking turn. Yeah, exactly. No, he loves them. He loves dictators. He doesn't hate them. Dictators are his favorite people. As a matter of fact, he tries to shit on, like, democratically elected people all the time. It's like, that's part of his M.O. It's like, he likes strong men. Because he's weak, like Daniele said, that he wants to appear strong. So he wants to suck up to these strong men. But you ever notice when he gets in the presence of these strong men, he fucking wilts. Like his shoulders slump, and like, you could tell he's not an alpha male. The whole right-wing brosphere alpha male shit is bullshit. It's bullshit, all of it. I'm sure some of them can fight and are tough, but I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 of these guys, you beat the shit out of. Because they're fucking pussies. I tell them all the time. And I fight the 10th guy who would beat me because I'm not a pussy. I'd be like, line up. Let's see. How many of you are really alpha? Not a lot. Not a lot of them. The same as when you go to like these events, like we were talking about, the UFC. Like I used to work security at the UFC. Same shit. All these guys that come to the UFC fights, they all think they can fight. They all think they're cage fighters, that they're tough guys. It's like, when something happens, you go confront them. It's like, they're fucking pussies, man. They're not gonna fight. They're all talk. It's like most bullies. Most bullies only prey on the people who won't fight back. They're weak. They bully people who are weak. And when they come across someone who's strong, they get their ass kicked. Someone punches them in the face, and they back the fuck away. Because they're not really about being tough. They're about projecting this image that they're tough. It's all bullshit projection. Tough guys don't need to tell you that they're tough. You probably don't know this, but like Daniele is the nicest guy you could see. Daniele will kick your fucking ass. Daniele's a cage fighter. He knows all that jiu-jitsu and all that shit. He's got videos. He demonstrates all these hoes how he choked the shit out of you in 27 different ways. Like how he could break your arms and legs whenever he wanted. And he has all these power, but he doesn't use it. He doesn't walk around like, I can break your fucking legs, so do what I say, because he's not a dick. That's why I think there should be like a test or some kind of psychological examination that people should have to do before they get to learn all these things. Same as a gun, or whatever. It's like, you shouldn't give power to people who are wanting to flex power, because it's dangerous, If you're a guy that wants to flex power, then you probably shouldn't learn all these things and how to choke people out 27 different ways, because you'll do it, It's like what happened, I don't know, it was a week or two ago. I don't know what happened. I didn't read the whole story. I just saw it was like some wrestler and a UFC cage fighter got into it somehow, and one of them wound up severely injured. It's like, why are these guys fighting? The cage fighter called the wrestler fake or something, like when Schultz slapped Geraldo Rivera because Geraldo Rivera said wrestling was fake, and he was like, "Is this fake? Bam! Is this fake?" It's like, it doesn't change the fact that there's a script, bro. It's fake. Like, I get it, the violence is real, but the outcome is totally predetermined. It's called fake. You go, I'm the champion of the world. It's like, you're only champion of the world because Vince McMahon put it in the script. You're not champion of the world because you were the best wrestler. It's not a contest of who's the best. It's an entertainment vehicle. with violence in it. Sure, the violence is real because you have to do it for television, but the guy, like Hulk Hogan was champion for how long? You think none of those guys could beat Hulk Hogan? They could have. You think Andre the Giant couldn't have beat Hulk Hogan if he really wanted to? He's 5 times bigger than him. He could have picked him up and like, he's a giant man. It's like, well, what happened? Hulk Hogan's body slammed Andre the Giant. Why? Because that was great entertainment. It's David and Goliath story, basically reenacted. That's what I mean. Like, all these themes have always been around. It's nothing new. It's not like, the David and Goliath story is from the Bible, one of the first written books that everyone had in human history. That story is still being reenacted today. All over the place. Why? Because, like I said, it's motivational. It's inspirational. It's like there's lots of things. Like, oh, look, the little guy beat the big guy. It shows you that you don't have to, that you don't have to feel helpless, but you do have to feel helpless to keep people like Trump in power. It's like, but that's why it appeals to people, because they do feel helpless. They do feel weak. And they go, look, it can be done. I find that inspirational. But does that change, how they approach things? No. It just makes them feel good for a minute. They go, no, that was inspirational. It feels good. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. And like I said, Trump's back. So, although I still think there's something weird going on, because I say it wasn't like, oh, he came out and True Social and like jumped out of the White House. Look, I'm back. Like, no, he's like sneaking out the back door to go play golf so somebody could get a picture of him to prove that he's alive. But he's sick. There's something going on, I believe. There's something health-wise going on. I mean, he's an old man. That's why I always thought was the fallacy of this whole thing. It's like, Biden's too old to be president. But we got this 80-year-old guy. It's like, what we need to do is establish a retirement age like they have for every other fucking job. And go, once you get past like 70 years old, you should probably leave the government. Government shouldn't be run by 80 and 90-year-old men who won't leave because they're addicted to power. Power's addictive. Of course they're not going to leave. I'll die in this chair. And they will. Strom Thurmond literally died in the chair. That's like, well, I mean, he didn't die in the Congress, but he was in the Congress all the way till he was like 95, and then they wheeled him out one day, and he said, I don't feel so good. And he died. It's unbelievable. Anyway, I appreciate y'all for hanging out. And they said Daniele's back. So Saturdays, hopefully, Daniele will be back on Saturdays now. And make the show a little more interesting. Because I'm sure you're sick of just me fucking running my mouth off. And at least the connection was work good today. There was no drop frames. It says none. And no technical difficulties, which is always a good thing. Because if I've said numerous times, I'm not a tech guy. I'm just glad that I was able to get myself set up to do this fucking show. That in and of itself is an amazing achievement. For a guy like me, who's not very technical guy, who's Generation X over, I'm 50 years old. The fact that I can do this stuff at all is something to be proud of, I think. And I'll be back on Tuesday as usual. I appreciate, like I said, each and every one of you. If you're watching on YouTube, like I said, I hate to be a shill, but hit the like button. It helps with the algorithm and all that shit. And please come back. I said, and Daniele's back from Italy now, so Saturdays he'll probably be here with me for a while. So he's a very interesting guy, and I'm lucky to have him here. And again, as usual, I am Bruce Leonard. This is Bruce Leonard Leans Left. Well, still legal. I'll be back on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Unless my mom wants to go to the movie. And then so I'll do a show on Monday. I'll do a next week, the beginning of the week. So please stay tuned and thank you. I love all of you and enjoy your weekend. Go out and do something. Good night.